Well, speaking of Street Fighter V and Capcom Cup,
Yes.
and unfortunately, a little bit of bad news here.
Yes.
Is that last year's champion, Knuckle-Doo, tweeted out that he just is probably not going to be able to attend Capcom Cup. And he said Capcom he's already talked to them and they're okay with it. And he said pending on what Team Liquid said, and then Liquid tweeted out, dude, we are behind you all the way, do what you need to do. So unfortunately, last year's champion is not going to return to defend his title.
Right.
Which is, sad for a lot of us to hear, because as a person trying to do the title defense, he's been playing exceptionally well all year long.
Agreed.
And he's third on the list.
Right.
In rank on CPT right now. He's number 3.
Right.
Only behind EVO champion Tokido, who got 1 billion points for EVO, and Punk.
Right. Who's been crazy good.
He's been winning everything. Yeah, exactly. So it's sad that he's not going to do that. However, whatever you need to take care of first is what you need to take care of first.
100% agree.
Right.
I don't know what the issue is. I don't want to speculate on what the issue is. Everybody should. And as far as I have seen, is being cool about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen anybody be not cool about it. So that's important. I'm glad about that. But certainly, I would love to have seen him both in game and just as a person.
Yeah, both. Of course.
But in any case, he won't be there. So there was some discussion as to what would happen as a result. Who would take his place? Would it be like the 33rd ranked person or whatever, 32nd, I guess?
Yeah.
Person coming in, or would it be last year's champ? And Capcom came out and said that the rule is that last year's second place, I should say.
Right.
That last year's second place comes in because, of course, Do was auto-qualified for Capcom Cup, having won last year. So the rule is, whoever was second place last year after him comes in instead. That was Ricky Ortiz.
Right. And so that rule was there in place since last year. That rule has been stated in there for the longest time. So that means that she is the one that gets to go into the tournament now. So. Right.
And there is some discussion in the chat, I see, about that rule.
Yes.
Right. So that rule, like you said, it was in place. The right thing to do for them, of course, is to stick to the established rule.
Yes.
Like, if they think it's not a good rule, change it for the future.
Yes.
But for now, it needs to be what the rule was. Right. So good call on that.
Yeah.
But do you think that is a good rule?
Well, I mean, the interesting thing is I'm sure they probably figured that, if you got second place last year, then you're still going to be kicking it the whole next year. But, at the time that you write that kind of rule, it makes total sense, right? Obviously, things happen. Like, what if Infiltration even got second place last year, and then this year he got married and all this stuff like that, and he's not in there either, There's lots of little things like that can happen. So, but I think in terms of, carrying that tradition, because like Kazunoko came back and all that stuff like that, I don't mind it as a rule. And Ricky certainly getting second place, she got second place because she's amazing at the game, and she's taken a break from the game a little bit to deal with some personal stuff. But she said that she's ready to play. She was going to enter the last chance qualifiers anyway. She was already there, and so you know what? Let's do it. I don't think it's necessarily a bad rule. I mean, I feel bad for NL. Or Sako. No, Sako stayed in. NL, I feel bad for NL because he was probably like, oh, I'm in.
Right.
And then, oh, God, no.
Right, yeah.
And NL probably thinks to himself, I did all this work this year.
Right.
Ricky didn't do as much work. How come she gets in and I did? I get that. I understand that. But, again, you can't say Ricky didn't earn it because she got second place last year.
Yeah. So, I don't think people should be saying that. But I do think it's not a good rule. I do think the rule should be changed.
Okay.
Second place last year, if the idea is second place at Capcom Cup is a fantastic job, that person should still be good next year, they should get in if first place isn't there. I think that's a flawed rule because if that person is good, then they should probably just already be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they should probably just already have qualified. And if they haven't, then bummer for them. But so I think that rule, if that's the goal of it, kind of misses the mark. I don't think that's very good. I would much rather have the next person in points scoots in.
Yeah.
Right. I think that is definitely the better rule because this is not the only year that somebody has been really strong and then doesn't play much the next time. It's definitely happened before.
Right.
It'll happen again. Right. So I think that's it's not a great idea. I would much rather have the rewards be the people who do well this year.
Right, who did put in that work.
Did put in the work.
Because especially, like I said, NL did travel a lot. Dude, we saw him everywhere. And he's not going to be able to get in there despite all that work, even though someone had to drop out. And it's kind of unfortunate. Because if anybody else had dropped out, if it was like Smug's like, I can't do it anymore, NL would get in.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's just specifically because Knuckle Dew was last year's champion that Ricky gets in there because the rule was written in the first place.
Right.
But I do agree that they should stick with the rule for this year,
of course.
and then maybe for next year change it.
100%. It should definitely be the same this year. So Ricky's in. I haven't seen Ricky play all that much this year. As you said, she's been doing other things. I guess she's a fantastic player. High level Ricky is one of the best ever, for sure. I'm not sure that she'll be at high level because I haven't seen her play. And even if she's training up a lot now, there's a lot of momentum in the game, and it's not as easy to just pick it back up after time away.
Right.
So I'm not very optimistic for how well she'll do.
Right.
But she should be in there because that's what the rule was.
Yeah. I feel like she has the potential to upset a few people.
She has a ton of potential. I'm not claiming she doesn't have potential. I just don't think that she's going to be maximizing it.
Oh, yeah.
But of course, she's very talented.
But that's a good question, though. I mean, do the rules state that she's going to jump directly to where Dew's spot is on there, or is she going to drop all the way down to the bottom because technically she has the least amount of points?
Well, I'm actually not sure about that. I haven't heard anybody else talk about that point. That's a good question. She won't be last in points because the last chance qual... I mean, not last in the bracket. Because the last chance qual is guaranteed to be 32nd.
Right.
In the ranking.
So would she be in 31st place?
Right.
The question.
I don't know. I haven't seen anybody talk about that.
We'll have to find that out. Probably talk to Capcom about that.
I think that would be the better choice. Right.
I think so too.
It would be strange to have her in third place overall because she didn't. Even if she did great last year and therefore earned a place, the theory is in this year's event, she didn't earn a sort of third place overall in this event. So.
Agree. So a lot of people are saying that it's going to take Dew's place, I guess. I'm not sure. I think it would make more sense to put her in the 31st spot.
Same.
To be honest. So.
Rick says Dew was going to be seated on points, which is true. So you would expect Ricky to be seated in the same way, which means she would be 31st overall. Okay. That makes sense to me, but again, I haven't seen explicit... I haven't seen official ruling on it. So we'll see what happens with that.
But in any case, it'll probably be talked about on Bizarro Mike's Wake Up Wednesday tomorrow. He'll probably talk about what's going on in that situation. Right. I mean, at the core of this whole thing, any sort of debate on Ricky, should she be in there, should NL, whatever like that. I mean, honestly, for me, it takes a backseat to, I just hope Knuckle Dew's okay.
Yes, of course.
I hope everything works out for him, whatever's going on. Yeah. It might not even be that serious or anything like that, but, whatever's going on, like I said, take care of your stuff out of the game. I'm a fan of him inside and outside of the game. Sure. Right? So, I'll root for him in all fashions, in all aspects of life. So, if he needs to take time to take care of whatever he needs to take care of, do it. And, I had some people in one of my stream chats, mention, oh, you know what, we have a right to know what's going on, and you have a right to ask. You have a right to ask, but...
That's a big old thumbs down.
Yeah, so we don't need to know. We don't need to know. Because they're it's a public figure.
There's no right involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Even in a public figure.
Right.
That's actually a legal thing. Public figure actually matters for some aspects of law. There's no right to knowing what a public figure does. Come on.
Right.
If something is reported already, then in some situations that can't be sort of taken out of the public anymore. Right. It's already in the public. But you don't get to know everything they're doing just because.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly.
So. Dumb. All right. Anything else to say about this?
Not that I can think of. Do you want to take a break, or do you want to just jump on to the next thing?
Let's jump on to the next thing, because I feel like the Evo talk will take a little bit longer.
Okay, sure, no problem.
So, this week has been a big talk on the old NRS side of the FGC about rivalries. And here's how it started. Apparently, in an NRS Twitter DM chat.
DM chat?
A DM chat. For a long time, discussion has been who is the champion of NRS Games Right for Justice 2, I guess. Is it SonicFox, who won a lot of the tournaments this year, and is probably the best player.
Mm-hmm.
However, he didn't win EVO, and he didn't win E-League, and he in fact got busted in E-League.
Right. Well, SonicFox did win the IPS. Though,
he did win the IPS
mm-hmm.
finals, but the IPS finals fed into E-League as the World Championship.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
Oh,
so that was a qualifier.
Okay.
I know it's confusing. It was not well marketed, but the IPS Injustice Pro Series finals fed into E-League Injustice 2 World Championship.
Okay.
Whatever, dude. I know what you. Whatever. All right. You're right. Actually, SonicFox was sick during Evo. He had food poisoning. So him getting, I think it was 4th place, is pretty good even still. But he didn't win.
Because the thing is, I saw that question brought up as a Twitter poll. And I thought that's where it came from. So Twitter polls are just causing all sorts of...
It was put... So because this has been an issue... So Dragon won those two. The biggest tournaments of the year are EVO and E-League.
Right,
He won both of them. So is that the real champion? That was the Twitter DM chat issue. And then so... Pig of the Hut thought, all right, let's put this on the old public Twitter and see what everybody says. That was the poll.
Okay.
And yeah, that poll... It got a bit of attention.
Okay, so what I'm learning here is let's not make Twitter polls anymore. They're causing all sorts of problems.
That's right, actually, yes. 2 out of 3 topics so far today.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh,
shout outs to everybody. Anyway, so when that happened, there was additional drama, I guess. The question was, should we even be talking about this? Right? Is this a productive use of time to talk about sort of essentially building a rivalry between these two guys?
Right.
Whether or not they feel it. Should we be building this rivalry between the two of them? Should we be comparing somebody who didn't win the explicitly both developer and community endorsed world championships?
Right.
Should we be talking about somebody else as even the potential champion? Does that devalue the value of EVO and E-League? And so old Ed Boon came in and he was like, all right, everybody.
Ed Boon.
Yeah. Ed Boon came in and he basically said, quit it. He's like, enough of this. And
his opinion was, stop talking about the rivalry.
Stop talking about this.
Okay.
So I think it's an interesting topic because I like talking about rivalries. And a lot of other people chimed in the same. Is it sort of valuable to have rivalries? And is this both that question and also is it a good way to go about building rivalries to sort of like talk down a little bit on the potential world champion versus one of the best?
I mean, not to answer that question right away, but one of the things that also was mentioned a lot, I think, was that Dragon never played SonicFox in any of those events.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think that not in those two events.
Yeah,
for sure.
not in those two events, but when he has played SonicFox, he has lost to SonicFox.
Indeed he has.
Right? Yeah, okay.
Indeed he has.
Yeah.
So I think it's uncontroversial to say that SonicFox is the best NRS game player. I don't think it's controversial to say he's not right now. Right. Or at least he was not during E-League.
And I don't think it's controversial to say that Dragon is the champion right now.
I'm with you, dude. If somebody wins EVO, in my mind, that means they are the world champion. Additionally, if your scene has something like an E-League World Championship or a Capcom Cup or a KI Cup or whatever, Tekken World Tour, if they have that kind of thing, that is also a champion, but in my mind, that is second place to EVO.
Okay.
I like the value of a one-weekend tournament because I feel like over a long term, you're qualifying for this sort of thing. A ton of stuff changes.
Right.
The game is not the same game as it was at the start. Some people are going to be better at that version versus at the later version, both because of patches and not. Some characters are going to be better or worse, but also just the evolution of the game's style. Even if the game doesn't change explicitly, players play it differently over time.
For an EVO, for that weekend, everybody played, and you are the best that weekend.
Everybody was there because they always are.
Right.
And there's no change in the rules. It's just the thing. That's it. and so to me, that's the best.
Okay.
But if you win both of those, that's double over. For sure, the question is over. But the question was phrased as, who is the true champion? And the addition of the true there is an important point because that implies that if it was just the champion, that answer is it's Dragon.
Right, yeah.
But the true champion, just because he wasn't the explicit champion, he's not the true champion? There's a little bit of legalese in there.
I think, I can't remember, I think I might have voted for SonicFox on that poll when I saw it just to see the results, but I mean, honestly, I probably would say Dragon is the true champion right now.
I think so.
He won everything, right?
I think so.
And just because they didn't play each other directly doesn't matter, because if SonicFox was a true champion, he wouldn't have lost to anybody else.
Dude, if you're playing in a league, if the Eastern Conference is a bunch of garbage and the Western Conference is the best, which has happened in a bunch of sports, well, opposites happen too, I guess. But in any case, if that does occur, only the champion of the Western and Eastern Conference play each other. So Bumpkin Jones from the East Coast never actually plays against anybody from the West Coast at all until the grand finals.
Right. Yeah.
So none of the other matchups actually matter. Even if that happens and the East Coast comes out of garbage country and they happen to beat the West Coast champion, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter which West Coast teams would have beaten them. That doesn't matter. They're the champion.
It's true.
That's it.
And now you're just making me butthurt at this point in time, because man, everyone always talking about LeBron's been in like 7 or 8 Eastern Conference championship series. He's been in the grand finals like 8 years in a row. I'm like, East Coast sucks, dude. That doesn't mean anything, dude.
I remember one year in the NHL where the team that was struggling to qualify in 8th place had more points than, which is how they do it, points. More or less, they had a better record than anybody except for, I think, the 3rd place, like the top 3 teams in the East. So, like, the West was just super way.
Right, yeah.
That happened a few years in a row.
Dude, it's been that way. It's been that way in basketball for almost a decade now, and it's really, really bad. I mean, you know it's bad when the NBA is actually starting to talk about, should we seed them in the playoffs just 1 through 16, who cares which side they're on. That's how bad it is, that they're actually talking about that.
So that happens in the old sports.
Sorry.
And it happens in other competitions too. And all that really matters is who comes out as the #1 winner. That's it. Mm-hmm. So, in my view, Dragon's the champion. But I think the more interesting question is it important to build rivalries? Is it important to have that? Does that keep the scene going? Does that keep things interesting? Mm-hmm. I think it really does. I think it's awesome. I like having rivalries. They don't have to be, big jerk rivalries. They don't have to hate each other. That's a different story. But to have somebody, like a couple of people or a region rivalry or something like that, that is interesting. It's fun for everybody involved. I think it's fun for the rivals themselves. Because I've been there. I've had the rival thing happen. Right. And I feel it's a lot of fun. And it really propels you to keep going. So I like it. Even if, and I'm not sure they actually care about this, even if Dragon and SonicFox don't, right? I think it's interesting to talk about them as being potential rivals, because that is interesting for the scene. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. I agree. I love rivalries. All I'm going to say is Mango Armada. It's perfect, right? Like, that was such a storyline for a long period of time, people talking about that. And then Hungry Box is now in there, right? Like, taking names and everything like that. But the reason why Smash has built such a large scene is because of the Gods kind of storyline.
I mean, certainly a factor.
Yeah, it's a huge factor there. Now, I don't like the God culture necessarily, but the rivalry, the storylines help. Like, everybody always said that, sorry to always use the NBA as the example, because I have a lot of knowledge in the NBA, but the NBA really sort of gained that fan base. It really blossomed the most with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird.
Big part of it, sure.
Right?
Sure.
So they were rivals in college. They both went to the pro at the same time. They went to the Lakers and the Celtics. Right. And then they kept hitting each other in the grand finals. Yeah. In the grand finals. Yeah. And they kept playing each other. And that storyline, that rivalry was huge. I remember when LeBron made it into the NBA, Carmelo Anthony was there, and they tried to play this little storyline with them, and it didn't work because Carmelo Anthony just never quite amounted to the same kind of thing that LeBron did. But those kind of stories are very important, in my opinion, and they do create interest. They create drama. In my opinion, I think human drama is probably the most important factor of any competitive anything. Like, I always talk about the example in the World Series of Poker. Like, you know, the whole cam was the biggest thing. Chris Moneymaker winning one year was another big thing that increased popularity. Rando. But, what's that?
Having a rando?
Yeah. Having a rando kind of beat the pro, right? But then the main thing was that when they started broadcasting it on ESPN, they finally started doing profiles of the players. They started highlighting certain players. And, you know, they picked and choose, and, like, maybe some players didn't deserve it over others or whatever like that. But it created the personalities. I remember watching it, and then whenever I watch random poker, I'm like, oh, there's Chris Jesus Ferguson. Oh, there's Daniel Negreanu. Oh,
I don't care anything about that stuff, but I know who those people are.
Right, exactly. So knowing the people, I think, is super important, and that gives a lot of investment for more casual viewers. And also for analyst pundits and whatever like that.
It makes our job a ton easier.
Yeah, and look, and dude, when you watch ESPN, what are you doing? You're watching Pardon the Interruption. You're watching, you know, all those things, and all they're doing is like, I don't like Skip Bayless. I don't think that LeBron is blah blah blah.
Personality.
You know, exactly. Like all of that stuff. People like to hear that kind of discussion. So yes, rivalries are super important, and I like it, and I'm glad that there is this rivalry for people to talk about.
Yeah, I definitely don't want it to the degree of in mainstream sports. Mm-hmm. I would be very happy if we never had a Skip Bayless type person. Please don't let that happen, all right? So, come on.
No, I agree. I agree.
I don't want that. But I do want to talk about rivalries, because that is interesting. Mm-hmm. I always think that the gameplay tournament itself should be the most important, but just beyond that should be.
That's my goal now, because people are saying that I say controversial things just to be relevant here. So I'm going to be
Skip Bayless.
I'm going to be the Skip Bayless. I am going to be the Skip Bayless of the FGC.
You're too self-aware for that to happen.
Yeah, that's probably true.
It's already impossible for you.
That's probably true.
Just the very conversation of, are you like Skip Bayless or not? If you entertain that in your mind, I don't think you can be Skip Bayless. I think that disqualifies you from it automatically.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't have much respect for that fella.
Oh, man. That guy. But the thing about it is, he made you watch. I used to watch Sports Center in the morning.
I literally got rid of ESPN because...
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I literally got rid of ESPN. Well, cable in general. That's all I used cable for was ESPN. Because of him and Stephen A. Smith and similar folks.
Oh, you hated them?
I'm out of here. I can't take this
anymore. Fair enough. You're a good man. You're a smart man.
I hate it.
But people like that drama, dude.
They do like that drama.
I still remember, because I've always called the WWE the soap opera for men, basically, right? And I still remember the time that Justin and Noel were over at my place. This is when Justin was living with me. And they had TiVo, they had DVR'd the WWE. And they're sitting there watching the guys yell at each other, I'm this, blah, blah, blah. And then it's time to wrestle. And they're like, skip the match.
Oh, my God.
They skipped the match and they went to the next thing. And I was like...
That is the dumbest thing ever.
There you go.
Well, I like rivalries. I think they're cool. I'm not sure that they bring in many new viewers. Mm-hmm, I think you're probably right to some degree about it, but I don't think that's like a major draw. But I do definitely think that it energizes and keeps interested the people who are already following. So I like it from that side.
I mean, for me, it's just that when you find someone that you can attach yourself to, that you just start to like, and you start to root for them, it really changes how you gain involvement in the sport. Because every time I watch a basketball game, and I don't care who wins, like, you just don't, like, the game does, like, but if I watch a team, even if it's a team that I hate, which is why I think guys like F-Champ are important as a heel in there, right? Because now it doesn't matter. If you hate F-Champ, every time you see him play, you don't care who he's playing against. You want him to lose. And it gives you a personal investment in there.
That's true.
If you become a huge fan of Knuckle Dew or Punk, every time you see them, you want them to win. Or if you're a huge fan of Tokido, I mean, there was that video where Born Free was like hugging, I forgot who he was, after Tokido won, because they're both Akuma players and they love Tokido and everything like that because of Tokido's history. But if you didn't have that attachment, you might not care that much. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that adds that kind of euphoria to the competition. It adds that investment, and I think that's super important. It's personally why I try to focus a lot on weird player stories and bring up weird things. And yeah, I apologize to Perfect Legend if you ever, like, because everyone always brings up the 0-13 thing whenever you talk about Perfect Legend. But I mean, it's a storyline. It's there.
Yeah, we should quit it though.
I know.
Like,
I mean, we shouldn't joke about it as much anymore. Like, bring it up as a historical thing, but like, don't use it as.
I mean, it's not that we should forget it. I just feel like it's like, oh, here's Carl. Let's talk about this story.
Right. Bring it up if it's relevant. Yeah. If it's relevant, for sure. So.
After the DBFC thing.
That doesn't even count, man.
Definitely doesn't count. Doesn't even count. All right. Well, anything else to say about this? By the way, it is cool, I think, and we were talking about this before we got on the air. It's very cool that Ed Boon got involved, even if it was to say shut up.
Yeah, but I mean, some people were saying that he just didn't want the drama. It wasn't that he was against rivalries. I think he just wanted to cool down the drama that was going on.
That may be accurate. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure he dislikes rivalries in general. But I do like that he takes an active role in the scene.
Yeah, and the fact
even
that
if it's something I disagree with, I think that's great.
Everybody who's following him a lot of people who are following him have nothing to do with the tournament scene. They probably don't even know about that. But the fact that he's in there talking about it with the other players exposes a lot of those people to the FGC. I mean, you know, if Capcom's head could speak English better, I'm sure it would happen a lot more. But, you know.
Maybe. I'm not sure it would, actually.
But yeah, I know, right?
But maybe. It would be certainly nice to
but I mean, like Harada is another good one,
perfect
too,
example.
right? You know. Like, even just, anyways, any case, so, but, yeah. Okay.
Cool.
All right, so, do you want to take a break now, then? And then when we come back, we will talk about the Evo 7 wish list, because we'll talk about that. Everything's coming from Twitter these days.
Twitter!
So we'll be right back, guys. We'll be right back.